blade sang through the air before the first alien warrior even registered movement. Lieutenant Kara Bennett didn't wait for the ceremonial challenge to finish. The Vorton captain was still reciting the terms of honorable combat when his second-in-command hit the floor, blue blood pooling from the gash across his throat. Kara rolled left as plasma fire scorched the air where she'd been standing half a heartbeat before. 11 left. The arena erupted into chaos. The Vortan crowd roared in outrage. Their 12 elite warriors, the Crimson Spears, had never faced dishonor like this. A human, a female, a prisoner who should have begged for mercy. Instead, she'd stolen their ceremonial blade during the opening speech and opened throats. Kara vaulted over a stone barrier as 3 warriors converged. The blade felt wrong in her hand. Too light, the balance off. Didn't matter. She'd trained with kitchen knives in boot camp when the brass wanted to prove a point about adaptation. This ornate piece of alien ego would do just fine. The nearest Vortan lunged with his shock spear. Kara parried, twisted, and drove the blade up under his jaw. She yanked it free and used his falling body as a shield against the next plasma burst. The shot punched through his armor and barely missed her shoulder. 10 left. They were coordinating now, forming a perimeter. Smart. The Vortans hadn't conquered 47 worlds by being stupid, but they'd made one critical error. They'd assumed ceremony mattered more than survival. Kara sprinted toward the arena wall, boots pounding stone. A spear crackled past her ear. Another struck the ground, sending shards of rock spinning. She reached the wall and ran up it. 3 steps, 4, before pushing off backward in a flip that carried her over 2 warriors rushing from behind. She landed blade first on one shoulder joint where the armor separated. He screamed. She silenced him with a slash across the throat and took his shock spear as he fell. 9 left. The Vortan captain finally bellowed the order to stop holding back. Warriors spread wide, cutting off every exit. Plasma weapons charged with that distinctive whine Kara had learned to hate during 6 months in their prison ship. She drove the shock spear into the ground and activated it. The electrical burst radiated outward, disrupting their targeting systems for exactly 2 seconds. She used 1 second to close distance, the other to kill 2 more warriors whose visors were flickering dark. 7 left. Blood slicked the ceremonial blade, alien and human. Her left arm burned where plasma had grazed it. Her ribs ached from a spear strike she'd barely dodged. None of it mattered. The Vortans had taken her ship, her crew, her brothers and sisters in the void. They'd drawn their precious blade and offered her the honor of dying by it. Now she'd teach them what honor actually cost. The captain raised his own blade and stepped forward. Finally, Kara smiled and beckoned him closer. Right next part? The captain's blade met hers with a screech of metal that made the crowd fall silent. He was good, better than the others. His strikes came fast and precise, each one designed to exploit the reach advantage his longer arms gave him. Kara gave ground, circling, watching his footwork. Vortans pivoted from the hip. Their knee joints bent backward. It made them quick in straight lines, but slow in lateral cuts. She feinted right and went left. Her blade opened a line across his thigh. Not deep, just enough to make him angry. He roared and pressed harder. The other Sikh's warriors held position, forming a ring. This was personal now. Captain versus prisoner. Elite versus scum. In their culture, interference would mean dishonor worse than death. Kara used that. She let him drive her back toward one of his own warriors. At the last second, she dropped and rolled. The captain's blade, already committed to a killing stroke, sheared through his subordinate's chest plate. The warrior collapsed without a sound. 6 left. The captain froze for half a heartbeat. Shock. Grief. Whatever emotions Vortans felt when they killed their own. Kara didn't freeze. She came up from the roll and took his left eye with the point of her blade. He staggered back, ichor streaming down his face. She could have finished him. Should have. But the other warriors were already breaking formation. Honor be damned. Plasma fire lit up the arena like a lightning storm. Kara grabbed the dead warrior's body and hauled it up as a shield. 3 shots punched through. 1 caught her shoulder. She screamed and kept moving. A support column offered cover. She made it there as stone exploded around her. Her shoulder wasn't working right. The plasma had cooked through muscle. She switched the blade to her left hand and tested the grip. Weaker, slower, still deadly, two warriors rushed the column from opposite sides. Classic pincer. Kara waited until she could hear their breathing, then threw the blade at the one on her right. It caught him in the throat. She dove left, tackling the other warrior before he could fire. They hit the ground hard. She got her good hand around his weapon and twisted it toward his face. He pulled the trigger. Purple missed. 5 left. Kara retrieved her blade from the dead warrior's neck and assessed. The captain was still alive, one hand pressed to his ruined eye, the other raising a communicator, calling for backup, changing the rules. She couldn't allow that. She sprinted across open ground. Plasma fire chased her. One shot grazed her leg. Another took a chunk from her boot heel. She didn't slow down. The captain saw her coming and dropped the communicator, bringing his blade up in a defensive stance. Their blades met again. Once. Twice. On the third strike, Kara twisted her wrist and sent his weapon spinning away. She kicked his injured leg. He went down on one knee. She drove her blade through the weak point where his helmet met his neck seal. The captain of the Crimson Spears died without ceremony. 4 left. The remaining warriors stopped shooting. They stood in a line, weapons lowered, staring at their fallen leader. Kara didn't understand the words they spoke, but she understood the tone. Disbelief, fear, something else. Respect, maybe. One of them, the youngest by the unmarked armor, stepped forward. He placed his weapon on the ground and drew his own ceremonial blade. A challenge, 1-on-1. The old way. Kara's shoulder screamed. Her leg was going numb. Blood loss was making the edges of her vision dark. She looked at the young warrior and shook her head. Then she picked up a fallen plasma rifle and shot him in the chest. The 3 remaining warriors opened fire instantly. Kara was already moving, rolling behind another column, coming up firing. Her shots were wild, but close enough to make them scatter. She used the chaos to relocate, firing in controlled bursts like her drill instructor had beaten into her skull during basic. One warrior went down. Hip shot, he tried to crawl, and she finished him with a headshot. 3 left. No. 2. One of them was running, actually running, abandoning the arena, abandoning his brothers. The crowd's roar turned ugly. Vortans hated cowards more than enemies. Kara let him go. She had bigger problems. The last 2 warriors had taken high ground on opposite sides of the arena. Crossfire position. Professional. Deadly. Her plasma rifle beeped. Low charge. Maybe 5 shots left. She checked her escape routes. None. The arena doors were sealed. The walls too high to climb under fire. This was it. The end game. 2 elite warriors with full ammunition and high ground against one bleeding human with a nearly dead weapon. The Vortans in the crowd started chanting. She didn't need a translator. They wanted blood. Hers specifically. Kara checked the ceremonial blade still gripped in her left hand. Still sharp, still useful. She looked up at the 2 warriors and smiled through the blood on her teeth. Come on, then. The first warrior made his move exactly when Kara expected. Vortans were predictable when they had the advantage. He descended from his perch in a controlled drop, firing as he fell. She was already gone, using the smoke from a burning corpse as cover. His shots went wide, hers didn't. 3 plasma bursts caught him mid-air. He crashed down in a smoking heap. 2 left. No. 1, the final warrior didn't move from his position. Smart. He had elevation, ammunition, and patience. Everything Kara lacked. Her plasma rifle died with a pathetic whine. She tossed it aside and gripped the ceremonial blade tighter. The crowd noise changed. No longer bloodthirsty. Something else. Anticipation, maybe. Or curiosity. They'd watched her kill 10 of their finest warriors. Now they wanted to see how she'd handle the last. The warrior spoke. His voice boomed across the arena through helmet speakers. Kara didn't understand the words, but caught the tone. A question. Maybe an offer. She responded by throwing a fist-sized chunk of rubble at him. It fell short by 20 feet. He didn't even flinch. Stalemate. He couldn't come down without exposing himself. She couldn't go up without becoming target practice. Minutes ticked by. Her shoulder had gone from screaming to numb. Bad sign. The leg wound was still bleeding. Worse sign. Then the arena doors opened. 6 fresh warriors marched in. Not crimson spears. Different armor. Black and silver. heavier weapons. The crowd went silent. This wasn't part of the ceremony. This was execution protocol. The warrior on high ground barked something. Anger in every syllable. The newcomers ignored him. They fanned out with mechanical precision surrounding Kara's position. She laughed, couldn't help it. The sound echoed weirdly in the sudden quiet. She'd killed 10 elite warriors and they were sending 6 more. Couldn't even let her finish the last one properly. Had to stack the deck. Typical. The lead warrior in black armor raised his weapon. Not plasma, something bigger. A cannon that hummed with charging energy. The kind of weapon you used on armored vehicles, not people. Kara looked up at the lone remaining crimson spear. He was standing now, weapon pointed not at her but at the black-armored warriors, shouting, furious. They ignored him. The cannon fired. Kara dove. The blast crater where she'd been standing was 6 feet wide. Molten stone splashed outward. She rolled through it, biting back a scream as it seared her back, and came up running. The black warriors tracked her with coordinated fire. Professional, military, not ceremonial warriors playing at honor. These were killers doing a job. She made it to the arena wall and flattened against it. Plasma fire scorched the stone above her head. The ceremonial blade felt useless now. What was she supposed to do? Throw it? Actually, she waited for a gap in the firing pattern, then hurled the blade with everything she had left. It spun end over end and buried itself in the neck seal of the warrior with the cannon. He went down clutching his throat. 5 fresh warriors left, plus the one on high ground who still hadn't moved. Kara sprinted for the fallen warrior's cannon. She almost made it. A plasma burst caught her in the side. She felt ribs crack. Felt something inside tear. She kept moving on pure spite and grabbed the cannon. It was heavy, too heavy. Her shoulder wouldn't work. Her side was on fire. She used her good arm to swing the barrel toward the nearest warrior and mashed what she hoped was the trigger. The recoil nearly broke her wrist. The blast vaporized the warrior and the 2 behind him. 2 fresh warriors left. They stopped advancing, reassessing, probably wondering what kind of human could take that much damage and still be standing. Kara wondered the same thing. Adrenaline could only explain so much. She tried to lift the cannon again. Couldn't. Her arm wouldn't respond. She let it drop and looked around for anything else. Another weapon. A sharp rock. Anything. The warrior on high ground moved. He jumped down, a controlled fall that put him between Kara and the 2 black-armored warriors. He raised his weapon and fired, not at her, at them. The 2 warriors scattered, returning fire. Plasma bolts crossed the arena. The Crimson Spear was outnumbered, but he had cover and skill. He used both. 1 black warrior went down. Then the other. Silence fell again. Kara leaned against the wall, breathing hard, waiting for the kill shot. The Crimson Spear warrior approached slowly. He stopped 10 feet away and deactivated his weapon. Then he did something that made the crowd erupt in absolute chaos. He removed his helmet. The face underneath was scarred with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. All 4 looked directly at her. He spoke in broken, accented English that shocked her more than getting shot had. You fight with honor lost. You kill without tradition. You shame ceremony. He paused. You are alive when all others are dead. In my culture, this makes you worthy. He knelt and placed his weapon on the ground. I am called Vex. I am defeated. I am yours to kill or spare. Kara stared. Her vision was tunneling. Blood loss. Shock. Maybe hallucination. What? She managed. You have won, Vex said. The Crimson Spears are destroyed. By law, you claim their honor. I don't want honor, Kara said. I want my crew back. Vex's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Your crew is dead. Executed 3 cycles ago. The world tilted. Kara felt her legs give out. She hit the ground hard. Through fading consciousness, she heard Vex speak again. But you are not dead. And that changes everything. Kara woke up in pain so intense she wished she was dead. Medical bay. She knew the smell. Antiseptic and ozone. Her eyes focused slowly. White ceiling, humming equipment, an IV drip running something purple into her arm. She tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Don't move. Vex's voice came from her left. The nanites are still repairing your internal damage. Movement will disrupt the process. She turned her head slowly. He sat in a chair designed for Vortan proportions, looking massive and out of place. His armor was gone. He wore simple gray clothing. All four eyes watched her with an expression she couldn't read. "Why am I alive?" Her voice came out as a croak. "Because I made it so." Vex stood and moved to a console. "The Council wanted you executed immediately after you collapsed. I invoked the right of conquest. You defeated the Crimson Spears. Their honor, their weapons, their debts all transfer to you, including me. I don't understand. You own me now, by law. I am bound to serve until you release me or I die in your service." He tapped the console. "It is an old law, rarely invoked. The Council hates it, but they cannot refuse." Kara processed this slowly. "You're my slave, servant, warrior, bonded guard. The term varies by translation." He turned back to face her. "What matters is this. You have value now. You cannot be executed. You cannot be imprisoned. You are a conqueror under Vortan law with all rights and protections. My crew is really dead? Yes. I witnessed the execution myself. I am sorry." The words hit harder than any weapon. Martinez with his terrible jokes. Chen, who could fix anything with duct tape and spite. Rodriguez, who sang off-key during night watch. All of them gone. "How long have I been unconscious?" 4 days. Your injuries were extensive. Humans are surprisingly durable, but even you have limits. Vex moved to the window. Outside, Kara could see a sprawling city of purple stone and silver towers. "We are on Vortis Prime, the home world. You have become famous. The human who killed the Crimson Spears with their own ceremonial blade. They sent 6 more warriors. I didn't kill them alone. The Black Armor Brigade. They violated sacred combat. The Council denies ordering them, but everyone knows the truth. They could not let a human defeat their finest warriors. It would raise too many questions." He looked back at her. "I killed 2. You killed 3 with a weapon you could barely lift. The Council is terrified of you now." "Good. No, not good. Terrified leaders make dangerous decisions." Vex returned to his chair. "There is a faction that wants to use you, parade you as proof of Vortan honor and fighting spirit. They claim your victory proves their warrior culture produces the strongest opponents. Another faction wants you dead, law be damned. They say you cheated, fought without honor, and deserve execution. Which faction do you support?" "Neither." "I support you staying alive long enough to understand what you have actually won." Kara managed to sit up this time, gritting her teeth through the pain. The purple nanite solution in her IV bag was half empty. "What did I win? Access. Information. The right to demand answers." Vex leaned forward. "Your ship was not randomly captured. The Crimson Spears were specifically ordered to intercept it. Your crew was executed before interrogation could determine why." Ice ran down Kara's spine. "Someone wanted us dead." "Yes, someone with enough power to command elite warriors and bury the evidence. Someone who made a mistake by offering you ceremonial combat instead of a quick execution." Vex's eyes glinted. "That someone is now very worried you might discover why a small human science vessel was worth killing 12 warriors to silence." Kara laughed bitterly. "We were mapping asteroid fields. Nothing classified. Nothing valuable. Then why did the Crimson Spears travel 3 sectors to intercept you? Why were you taken directly to the homeworld instead of a standard detention facility? Why was your crew executed immediately?" Vex stood. "These are not standard procedures for captured scientists." Kara's mind raced. The mission had been routine. Map the asteroids, tag anything worth mining, file reports. They'd found some unusual mineral formations. Nothing that would warrant this. Unless... "The readings," she said slowly. "We found energy signatures that didn't match any known elements. Chen thought it might be tech. Ancient tech. We logged the coordinates and moved on." "Did you transmit the coordinates? Standard encrypted burst to command? Routine check-in?" Kara felt her blood go cold. Someone intercepted it. Yes, and someone decided that information was worth starting a war to protect. "War?" Vex walked to the window. "The human government has been broadcasting demands for your return. Threatening sanctions. Your victory in the arena bought time, but pressure is mounting." The Council will eventually have to choose between releasing you or fighting Earth. Earth can't fight the Vortan Empire. We're outgunned 50-1. Normally, yes. But the Council has a problem. 6 months ago, 3 Vortan fleets disappeared near the outer fringe. No distress calls, no debris, just gone. Vex turned to face her. The Council believes something out there is eliminating military assets. They cannot afford a war with humanity while investigating this threat. But they also cannot afford to let you leave with whatever knowledge got your crew killed. Kara swung her legs off the medical bed. Pain flared through her side. The nanites were working, but not fast enough. What do you suggest? I suggest you heal, learn to navigate Vortan politics, and stay alive long enough to find proof of who ordered your crew killed. Vex moved to the door. Then we make them pay. We? You own me, remember. Your enemies are my enemies. Your vengeance is my purpose. He paused at the doorway. Besides, I liked the captain you killed. He was a good leader. Honorable. The fact that he was ordered to execute prisoners without trial tells me something is very wrong in the Council. I would like to know what. Kara stood on shaky legs. Every muscle screamed. Her shoulder was stiff, her ribs ached with each breath. She felt barely human. But she also felt something else. Purpose. How do we start? Vex's expression might have been a smile, hard to tell with Vortan facial structure. First you learn to walk again. Then we teach you to be something the Council fears even more than a warrior. What's that? A politician with nothing to lose. 3 weeks later, Kara stood in the Hall of Voices wearing ceremonial armor that felt like a cage. The council chamber was vast. 73 representatives from conquered worlds sat in ascending tiers. At the center, elevated above all others, the 5 high counselors presided. Vortans, naturally. The species never let anyone else hold real power. Kara's armor was a statement piece. Vortan design, human proportions. Vex had commissioned it from a master craftsman who owed him favors. Black metal with silver accents, the same colors as the warriors who'd violated sacred combat. A deliberate insult to whoever had sent them. She wore it well. The human conqueror will approach, announced a mechanical voice from overhead speakers. Kara walked forward, ignoring the whispers that followed. 3 weeks of intensive physical therapy had restored most of her mobility. The nanites had done the rest. She no longer limped, no longer favored her shoulder. To anyone watching, she looked like she'd never been injured at all. Appearances mattered in Vortan politics. Vex had drilled that into her head. She stopped at the designated mark on the floor, a circle of white stone surrounded by runes she couldn't read. Above her, 73 pairs of alien eyes watched, some curious, some hostile, most calculating. The Center High Counselor spoke. His name was Drath, and Vex had identified him as the most dangerous person in the room. Lieutenant Kara Bennett, you stand before this council as a recognized conqueror under ancient law. What petition do you bring? I want answers. Her voice echoed in the massive chamber. My crew was executed without trial. I want to know why. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Drath's expression didn't change. Your crew violated restricted space. The penalty for such violations is death. This is known. We violated nothing. We were conducting authorized research in international territory. Someone lied about our location to justify murder. A serious accusation. Drath leaned forward slightly. Do you have proof? I have our navigational logs, our mission parameters, our authorization codes. Kara pulled a data crystal from her belt and held it up. Everything that proves we were exactly where we were supposed to be when your warriors attacked. A different counselor spoke. Female, with elaborate horn structures. How did you obtain these materials? They should have been destroyed with your vessel. They were uploaded to my neural implant, standard protocol for science officers. A lie. Science officers didn't have neural implants, but Vex had coached her on what lies the council couldn't easily verify. I'm happy to have your technicians extract and authenticate the data. Drath and the horned counselor exchanged glances. Neural extraction was invasive, dangerous. Refusing it would look suspicious. Agreeing to it meant potentially exposing whoever had falsified the mission reports. That won't be necessary, Drath said smoothly. We accept that errors may have occurred in the initial assessment. However, even if your crew was wrongly detained, the matter is settled. They are dead. You are alive and free. Consider it balanced. No mo. The word hung in the air like a blade. No. Drath's tone sharpened. You reject the Council's judgment? I reject calling murder a settled matter. Someone gave orders to intercept my ship. Someone ordered my crew executed before any investigation could occur. Someone violated your own laws to cover their tracks. Kara took a step forward, technically leaving the circle. Protocol violation. She didn't care. I invoke the right of blood answer. I want the name of who ordered it. Chaos erupted. Representatives shouted in a dozen languages. Guards moved toward Kara, then stopped when Vex stepped from the shadows behind her, his weapon visible but not raised. Drath slammed his fist down. The sound boomed like thunder. Silence fell. The right of blood answer hasn't been invoked in 3 centuries, he said coldly. You don't even know what you're demanding. I know exactly what I'm demanding. Vex explained it very thoroughly. Kara met his gaze without flinching. If someone wrongfully killed those I can demand formal investigation. The Council must either provide answers or grant me the right to seek them personally. With full legal authority and protection. The Horned Counselor laughed. Actually laughed. You want us to make you an investigator? Give you access to military records and personnel? Yes. Unless you'd prefer to just tell me who did it right now. Doctor's eyes narrowed. You're playing a dangerous game, human. I'm not playing anything. 12 of your finest warriors are dead. Your laws say I earned the right to answers. So either give them to me, or get out of my way while I find them myself. For a long moment no one spoke. Kara could feel Vex's presence behind her, solid and reassuring. They'd rehearsed this confrontation 100 times. Every word calculated, every gesture planned. The Council had 2 choices: admit complicity by refusing, or grant her request and hope she'd fail to find anything. Either way, she'd won this round. Drath consulted briefly with the other High Counselors. Then he spoke. Very well, we grant your petition. You will be given provisional investigative authority for a period of 60 days. During this time you may request interviews, review records, and travel as needed. However, he paused for emphasis, if you fail to produce evidence of wrongdoing, or if you abuse this authority, you will be stripped of conqueror status and face execution. Do you accept these terms? I do. Then it is decided. Drath gestured dismissively. You will be assigned a liaison to ensure you follow proper procedures. This session is concluded. The mechanical voice announced the end of proceedings. Representatives began filing out. Kara turned to leave and nearly walked into a Vortan female who'd approached silently. Younger than most, with minimal scarring and bright, intelligent eyes. Lieutenant Bennett, I am Sarah. I've been assigned as your liaison. She spoke perfect English with a slight accent. I'm to accompany you during your investigation and ensure compliance with Council regulations. You mean spy on me? Sarah smiled. I mean both. I'm very good at multitasking. She gestured toward the exit. Shall we begin? Time is limited, and I imagine you have many questions. Kara glanced back at Vex. He nodded slightly. They'd expected this. A liaison meant oversight, but it also meant someone with access to systems they couldn't reach alone. Fine. Let's start with the detention records. I want to know exactly when and how the order for my crew's execution was processed. Of course, follow me. Sarah led the way down a corridor lined with holographic artwork, though I should warn you, detention records are notoriously incomplete, especially for high-priority prisoners. How convenient, isn't it? Sarah looked back over her shoulder. You killed 12 warriors in an arena designed to ensure you'd die. You invoked ancient laws most council members had forgotten existed. You just forced the most powerful governing body in 47 systems to grant you investigative authority. Her smile widened. I have a feeling incomplete records won't stop you. You're right. They won't. 47 days into the investigation, Kara found the evidence in the last place anyone expected, the personal quarters of Counselor Drath himself. She stood in his private office surrounded by luxury that made her sick, tapestries woven from rare materials, trophies from conquered worlds, a collection of ceremonial blades that probably cost more than her entire ship had been worth, and buried in his encrypted files the communication logs that proved everything. "This is insane," Sarah whispered, her eyes scanning the holographic display. "He ordered the intercept personally, authorized the executions. All of it." Vex stood guard at the door, monitoring security feeds. "We have minutes before his security detail realizes the loop is failing. Finish the download." Kara's hands moved quickly across the interface. The data crystal absorbed everything: communications, transfer receipts, coordinates matching exactly what her crew had discovered. And something else, something worse. "Those energy signatures we found weren't ancient tech," she said slowly. "They were active installations. Vortan military installations, hidden weapons platforms positioned in neutral space." Sarah's face went pale, all four eyes wide. "That's a violation of the peace treaties with a dozen species. If this became public, war, immediate war." Kara kept downloading. "Drath was building a secret weapons network. My crew stumbled onto it. He couldn't let that information reach Earth or anyone else." "The missing fleets?" Vex said suddenly. "If Drath has weapons platforms in neutral space, he could have used them to eliminate any ships that got too close, made it look like unknown enemies." The pieces fell together with horrifying clarity. Drath wasn't just covering up a single crime. He was preparing for a massive military operation. The weapons platforms were just the beginning. "Download complete." Kara pulled the crystal free. "We need to leave, now." They made it halfway to the exit before alarms shrieked. Drath's security team flooded the corridor. 20 warriors in full combat armor. Not ceremonial fighters. Professional killers with serious weaponry. "Stand down," their commander ordered. "You are in violation of Council security protocols. Surrender immediately." Kara held up the data crystal. "I have evidence of treason against the entire Empire. Evidence your boss killed my crew to protect his illegal war preparations. I'm walking out of here, and this information is going public. You're not going anywhere." Plasma rifles charged. 20 against 3. No cover. No escape routes. Kara had survived worse odds, but that had been pure luck and adrenaline. This was a firing squad. Then Sarah stepped forward. "As Council liaison, I'm invoking Emergency Oversight Authority. This investigation has revealed credible evidence of High Councilor misconduct. These individuals are under my protection until proper review can occur." The commander hesitated. "Councilor Drath ordered." "Councilor Drath is the subject of this investigation. His orders are compromised." Sarah's voice carried absolute authority despite her youth. "Stand down or face charges of obstruction." For 5 endless seconds, no one moved. Then the commander lowered his weapon. "This won't end well for any of you." "Probably not," Sarah agreed, "but it will end honestly." They walked out surrounded by hostile warriors who didn't fire. Kara didn't breathe normally until they reached the public transit levels, where crowds and witnesses made assassination impractical. "Why did you do that?" Kara asked Sarah. "You just destroyed your career." "Maybe your life." "Because I'm tired of pretending the Council represents honor when it clearly doesn't." Sarah's expression was grim. "And because 12 warriors died in that arena fighting someone they were told was a criminal. They deserve to die knowing the truth. Your crew deserved better than unmarked graves. Someone needed to care about that." Vex placed a hand on Sarah's shoulder, a gesture of respect among Vortans. "You have courage. The kind the Empire used to value before politics corrupted everything. Save the sentiments. We still need to get this data public before Drath has us all killed." Kara pulled up a communication interface. "I'm transmitting to Earth Command, Vortan Opposition Media, and every independent news service I can reach. Simultaneous broadcast. He can't silence everyone." The messages sent, millions of copies spreading across dozens of systems in seconds. Within an hour, the Hall of Voices erupted into chaos. Emergency sessions. Calls for Drath's arrest. 3 high councilors resigned immediately. The Vortan Empire teetered on the edge of civil war as factions chose sides. Within a day, human warships appeared in Vortan space. Not attacking, escorting, protecting their officer who'd survived impossible odds and exposed corruption at the highest levels. Within a week, Drath was in custody. The weapons platforms were being dismantled under multi-species oversight. The peace treaties were being renegotiated with actual transparency. Kara stood on the landing platform watching the human ships in orbit. Ambassador Chen, no relation to her dead engineer, stood beside her reviewing extradition paperwork. "You're a hero back home," the ambassador said. "They're talking about medals, promotions, possibly naming a ship after you. I just want to go home. You've earned that right. Though the Vortan government has officially requested you remain as a liaison. They think your presence helps stabilize the transition." Kara looked at Vex and Sarah, who'd become unlikely friends over the past weeks of testimony and hearings. "What do you two think?" "I think you've changed more in 60 days than most people change in lifetimes," Sarah said. "And I think the Empire needs people who understand that honor isn't about ceremony, it's about doing what's right when it's hardest." Vex simply nodded. "I am still bound to serve. Where you go, I follow." "Then I guess we're staying," Kara said. "At least until we're sure this actually sticks." The ambassador smiled. "I'll inform Earth Command. They won't be surprised." "Oh, and Lieutenant? It's Captain now. Effective immediately. You've earned the promotion several times over." Later that night, Kara returned to the memorial garden that had been erected for the Crimson Spears, 12 stones arranged in a circle. Honorable warriors who died following dishonorable orders. She'd added a 13th stone, smaller, with 7 names carved into it in English and Vortan script. Martinez, Chen, Rodriguez, Grant, Kim, Okafor, Zhao, her crew, her family, the people whose deaths had started everything. "I found them," she said quietly to the stones. "I made them pay. I hope that's enough." The wind carried no answer. But for the first time in months, Kara felt something close to peace. She'd been one human against 12 elite warriors, against an empire, against corruption that ran deeper than anyone imagined. And she'd won, not because she was stronger or faster or better, but because she refused to accept that some deaths didn't matter, that some lives weren't worth avenging. That honor was something you performed rather than something you lived. The Vortons had drawn their ceremonial blade and offered her the honor of dying by it. Instead, she'd taught them what honor actually meant, and the entire galaxy was better for it.